変わった。油断するな。
技術の産物なのか。
ガイだが生き物だか知らねえがここらしてきやがるってんだ。気をつけたまえ。どんな能力を持っているかもわからん。
また続け。そんな手はするかよ。
ブラックこれに来る。
俺の真骨だ。
エアプレイヤー
ガリオク切りかけ。円破バンブライク。くらいな。イカズチを振り注げ。振り下げ。アンズプレスフリーズランカー。
グランドダイスだ。
こっちはガリオク見てなさい。ダリンチ
エアプレス
切り下げ。かけろ。
ダリンチブラッキーまだ来る。
フリーズランカー。
どういうさ応援が切れる。
敵の術は私が奪うよ。
用意してるぜ。あんたはどうなんだ。煽ってくれる。
フリーズガリエテガリエテ押せガリエテ円破爆弾体せガリオンアンズコラボラテ準備完了。切り下げ連勝点勝っちゃうぞ。やらせない。つらいな。俺の真骨だ。これほどの相手は
戦いの最中気を抜くな。
返す言葉もない。連勝点さすがの手際だ。精霊力をアタック。あれはだ
またあのグネグネの中を通らなきゃならねえのか。
行きと違って下りな分楽。
やるしかない。
炎よ
燃えろ。この力で奏でよう。このやらせない。合流レンガさんエクセキューション豪華爆撃バラバラにしてやる。あっためジャングルプレッシャーいけるぞ。キューハイムスコーハいい連携だったな。演武術といったところか。スライダーにテストウッロックやらせない。アンズエアプレイヤー
光を
しよう。ここまで消耗するとは。
しっかり手当てしないと危険ね。容赦しないわよ。
長くらい
何が不満ね。
何度もドクドクしたわけは
連勝点炎よ巻き込め。
ネガティブゲート
炎よ
あっためエクセキューション
たまに
足止めは任せろ。
これで
終わりだ。
見たか。見てたぞ、空振りするところ。見たんじゃねえ。
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for dinner. Thank you for dinner. You did not need to do that.
サクッとめちらしてやら。
Just help me enjoy my day off.
近づかない方がいいよ。これで
終わりだ。まだ伸びしろがあったような。
問題なさそうな相手だな。バラバラにしてやる。
光をないよ。
やれるぞ。
これで
終わりだ。ひとまずの決着はついたか。
まだまだ戦いは続くん。
Well, contributing when you can is all anybody can ask of their community. Definitely in a position where I don't make much of either job, but I never want people to contribute if they can't afford it.
さっさと片付けましょう。
That shit is toxic. Don't go donate to a millionaire, you know?
なんて早そうだね。
I am definitely not.
やれるよ。
勝てたか。
The reason I keep switching the character is because it skips the falling animation. When you fall, you get stuck in a really long animation. If you switch the character, it bypasses it. The speed run for this does that. Flick.
我が術で貴様の瞬足を封じよう。しばらくした方が
いいから早くして。
やれるぞ。
Guts Dungeon. Because
確実についてる。
the end of this game is very blatantly padded. Like, it's making me run back to the beginning instead of letting me teleport. Pretty obvious that, like, when they got to this point in development, they had, like, COVID really hit them hard, I'm sure. And the shareholders were like, you need to put this game out now. Clearly it was not ready. The whole end of this game is, even for people who like it, people pretty much have objectively said that the end of this game is really rough. You start being told things, major like plot points, instead of actually being shown them. Like to the point where you just get walls of text for like hours on end, and it doesn't really show you anything anymore. This dungeon is one of the worst examples. They don't let you fast travel for like no fucking reason. The hitboxes on the enemies are like massive, so you can't skip the fights. I play Berseria, yeah. Beat that game like 3 times. I did a challenge run for that game and then I never really played it again. But I enjoyed it. It's definitely a little bit too button mashing for my tastes, but it was a good game. There is one mod for it that removes a lot of the hit stop when you do moves. I recommend that one. It's called like no art pause or something. It essentially removes a lot of the hit stop. It makes the combat a lot more responsive. The game didn't get too many other gameplay mods besides that. That does make the game a lot better though. The hit stop is kind of off-putting. The game has really a high amount of hit stop.
Renegis. いよいよなのだな。
ああ。レネギスがあそこにある限り、避けては通れない。
Berseria is it's just a mashy game. You know, it was them trying to get away from the LMBS. It's a fun game. It's just I think Velvet is like the most broken Tales protagonist ever. In a history of a series where the protagonist is like always busted, Velvet is incredibly broken. He can literally just face roll. He can just button mash with that character, but it's fun. It's fun. I don't think it's a terrible combat system. It's just there's not a whole lot to it. It's fun for what it is. The switch canceling is fun. I had a lot of fun with that. The game is pretty responsive. It's just you just have to go into it expecting it's not going to have the depth of the best games in the series, like, you know, Vesperia, Xillia 2, Destiny Remake, the Vita games. You go into it not expecting that. It should be fine. But if you do go into it expecting that, then you're going to be very disappointed. I liked it enough. I played that game for like 100 hours. I beat it like 3 times. I would also suggest getting the cheat engine table that allows you to run faster, because that's the way that game is padded out. It's not padded out like this game. It's padded out in the way that you run really slow, and the environments are way bigger than they need to be. You do get this like Back to the Future hoverboard type thing, but you only get it usually at the end of a dungeon. You spend a lot of time running really slow in that game. I recommend getting the cheat engine table that lets you just customize the run speed. I put it on like triple run speed. That was like the only way I played that game as much as I did. It's probably the most blatant padding. Like, there's no reason for you to run that slow.
ですが、街を抜けてから幾分涼しくなりました。
それは視線が熱かったんじゃねえか。
Yeah, run speed and the hit stop removal makes the game a lot better. There weren't really many other gameplay mods.
雰囲気が変わった。油断するな。
Kind of has the same problem this game does, where
需要ねハイコード
they tried to make the other characters more
こ
diverse
こで初めてシオンと
with unique abilities and stuff, but
あな
like
たが
most of them
初め
don't
て
work
私に触
properly.
れた場所でもあるわ。
そうだったかな。
ええ。
Like, Rokuro gets a counter, right? But it doesn't guarantee a stagger. So, a lot of times you counter, you actually make the greed, and you counter the boss, and they just walk through it. And it's random when it happens.
ここがベルク火
It's
山
still got that classic Tails jank where it's like they keep trying to like
心配屋さんの
the
頭に
non-protagonist
薬がある
characters
ね
more viable, but they always screw something up. Rokuro is the most obvious example. Like, there is no reason why that counter should not stagger every enemy
ベルク火
every
山の
time,
内部に入ったからな。
早く星船を
considering the resource cost of it and everything, but no, it doesn't. There are many times in my challenge run for that where I did a counter and then the boss just walks through it like it's not there.
一瞬で成長するなんてこれで野菜や果物も
But Berseria is also a game where the protagonist is one of the most broken in Tales history. At least Ludgert, he took skill to play. He took skill to play. Yes, he was busted. But he definitely took a level of execution that was higher than a lot of the other really busted protagonists in the series.
喉乾いた
Velvet is pretty much just mash buttons, go into your break soul, and mash some more.
ありがとう
Which is fun. I don't want to sound like that's a bad thing. It's fun. It's just if you're looking for like someone as fun and deep to play as Luger, you're going to be disappointed.
食べる方
She does not really deliver that kind of death, but
結構
it's fun. I don't think Velvet will ever be topped. It's like most broken Tales protagonist. Alphen has all the tools to be broken, but the problem with Alphen is that he relies on healing to do his broken stuff. Alphen can arguably be better when he's not in your party. He could put someone else in Alphen's place and just perma-stun the bosses if you give him an accessory that increases his meter gain. Just kind of unique because there's no other Tales protagonist like that. Generally in Tales games, you always want the protagonist in your party. Just using him as a stun slave works pretty well.
致命傷になりかね妨害を頼む
Doesn't help that this game has a mechanic in place where you can't do more than half damage in a single hit to a boss. It will trigger the QTE. That definitely hurts him too. You probably could one-shot enemies with him.
気をつけたまえ落ちた骨も残らん
冗談でも押すような真似はするんじゃないぞロー
やってやれバラバラに
回したくないな。
状況が逆転。味わうがいい。大地の鼓動。インミネイティ敵キル。抜け具はこういう例だ。こっちの番だ。やらせない。超ラウンダだ。そういう連勝でバラバラにしてやる。俺の中の炎があっともや。いけるぞ。
これで
終わりだ。
And Berseria is always on sale for like $8, so I mean, if you don't like it, it's not really a big investment. It's-
突破するぞ。そう飛ばれるとやりづらくて仕方ねえ。相手もちょっと
これで
yeah, the end of this game, some people have compared it to
力
the second disc of
の
Xenogears,
差も
where it's
測れ
like
なかったのね。
you just get a lot of text explaining things, there's no visuals for it,
た方が身のためだ。
and you're expected to care when
この借りは
it's being told to you in a very bad way, and there's barely any gameplay.
これが防御。逃してはあるまい。
I don't mind reading. I actually like reading over watching videos myself, but when I'm playing a video game, I don't expect to be stuck in 4 hours of mostly text-based cutscenes with barely any gameplay to break it up.
俺たちの武器
I don't mind reading. I definitely prefer
今度
reading things than sifting through videos, but when you're in an interactive medium, it's not very good storytelling to just dump a bunch of text and random technobabble in the last couple hours with like 5% of it being gameplay and most of that just being giving you the illusion of control of the character before you walk into another hour cutscene. No, it is a lot like the second disc of Xenogears in that regard. I think like by this point they're just completely ravaged by COVID,
英語はそうだが
arbitrary deadlines and shit.
傷を負ったら言いなさい。
This boss is a recolor, by the way, of the first boss,
避けなきゃ。
and you don't even fight it. You just fight a bunch of mooks.
逃げた連中を笑う気しないな。
何よ、怖いの？
ちょっぴりな。お前は
私はものすごく怖いわよ。
だったら口を閉じて集中しろ。死ぬぞ。
No one seems to notice it's a palette swap from the beginning of the game.
奴を警戒して。
Just gonna gloss over that, huh?
できることをやっている。本当によく
突進は私が止める。お願い。
見事なこのコース逃してはあるまい。
決めて。
しよう。やらせない。ここで決めてやるぞ。
これで
終わりだ。
また出てきたぞ。
やむまで倒すしかあるまい。慌てるな。
なら私が。
妨害を取る。今だ。俺はそれになる。
そこ。
押せ。やませろ。浮き雲。
決めて。これで
終わりだ。
そう思ってい
This is so annoying.
ここは一度引くべきか。
It's one of the worst fights in the game.
だからこそだ。
Let's just put all the annoying HP sponge enemies in one area. You can barely see anything. Oh no.
みんな無事
ああ、まだやれそうだ。
無理はしないでお願い
だけどこんなでかいのどうすれば。俺が何とかする。任せてくれ。
アルフ
止める。
You know, this game is the worst thing ever. I rag on it a lot, but it's not a completely terrible game, and this mod actually makes it relatively fun to play. But the fact that this gets 9 out of 10s, even just from a narrative standpoint, just doesn't make sense to me. The end of this game is really, really rough.
まだまだ上を目指す。
I mean, what you just experienced there is one part, but the storytelling just jumps off a cliff, man. I consider a 9 out of 10 game to either be like, you know, Devil May Cry 3 tier, which that game has a great story, and it has great gameplay. That's still better than a lot of other attempts at doing that same kind of thing. Like, that is a 9 out of 10 game. Because it delivers in narrative, and I mean, at least for the time, the graphics and the gameplay. But I just don't see how in good judgment you can give this game a 9 out of 10 when even if you do like the simplified combat, like the story just falls apart. Like, this is pretty much exactly where the story just jumps off a cliff. And for a game that's so story heavy, I just don't see how it got 9 out of 10. 7 or 8 tops would be like something I would consider to be more accurate. If I was like a professional reviewer or something. But like, this story would have to like really be knocking it out of the park the entire time. I don't know, reviews don't really make any sense anyway. It's better to go to people who actually play the games than some game journal. I just don't see how even them, as professionals, could give this a 9 out of 10. Like, sitting through this the first time was agonizing.
みんなしっかり休めたか。
You know, Vesperia dropped the ball at the end too, but at least it wasn't as long as this is. The third arc of Vesperia is pretty bad too, but it's mostly gameplay, which was, you know, the part of the game that is good. It stayed consistently good the entire way through. Okay, so from this point on, Shakesman, if you're still in here, basically, there's barely any actual cutscenes. It's mostly just
あの壁の向こう
a bunch of text. You walk forward like this, and then you get more.
かつて
And it goes on for like...
シオンやデュオハリム
First time I did this was like 4 hours. And then the final dungeon, to pad out the game, what they do is they palette swap the bosses, and they give them a couple digits of
俺た
health,
ちダナは目立た
extra
ない
digits of
方がいいん
health.
だろうな
And you're like, you just checked out at that point. Like, mentally you feel like you ran an Olympic mile or something. And now that I'm not watching any of this shit, it's not bad at all.
小出しもぜ
It's just you get to this point, and if you're actually watching the cutscenes, you feel like you have to see it through. But at this point, it's obvious that
あなた
there was problems with the pandemic,
いろい
and
ろ
they didn't want to delay the game again because this game was vaporware for so long. There's not really a whole lot of value here.
彼
彼どう幸い
I never played Xenogears, but I know that the second disc of that game is very similar, where it's like they ran out of money and time, and they like still had to finish the game, but there was no budget or resources or dev time to really show you anything that's happening, so you just get a bunch of
誰
cutscenes.
かを気にかけていたですって
Which I mean, I'm not adverse to. I like reading. I like reading about things and researching stuff, but
あの男
when you give me a video game, there needs to be at least some gameplay. Like you can't give me like 2 feature-length movies worth of cutscenes, especially when there's barely anything visual happening.
褒めていましたよね
見た目のことばっかじゃなかったかうむ
人には残酷なくせに種族のために頑張るよくわからないよ矛盾してない
私が言うのもなんだがスルドとは王の座をめぐって争うと同時にレナ全体の守護者でもある
そういえばガナベルトも死の間際まで仲間のこと
I like how they try to, they also try to, humanize the bosses of the first part of the game.
ちょっと
It's like, why do I care at this point? They're literally like,
手段を
they're
選ばない
slave driving people to death. They literally like turn into water
ここじゃ
because their body is
それ
just
を正義
drained.
だって
Why are you trying to humanize them now? They've been dead for like 30 hours at this point.
ボルラーンのことはフレネギ
And you're not shown any of the
あの突然の
the stuff they're talking about where it's like, oh, the guys you killed are actually really good deep down. It's like, well, the game shows you them freaking
しつけられていた
slave driving people to death. Like, I don't think anything they tell you here really humanizes them at all. And plus, it was so long ago. It's like, why the fuck would I care? They do a public execution of one of the like most revered people in the slave society. It's like, oh, well, they weren't that bad. It's like, well, they kind of were.
キュー
They work people to the bone until they literally like disintegrate into like metal water. Why are you trying to humanize them now? A little bit too late for that. I kind of have stopped sympathizing with like stories that try to humanize villains when you like look at the real world and like the people that fuck up our world, the politicians and stuff. They really are they're just straight evil people. Like they don't have any depth to them at all. They just want money and they want to take advantage of people who don't have money. So when video games try to do this kind of stuff, I just kind of just want to just cringe.
なんだかアルフェ
It's got to the point where it's more believable that villains in video games
あ
are
なたも
they're just
私を
straight
励ましてくれ
assholes.
ていたわね
And
俺もたくさんシオンに
there's no morality to their actions at all. But then this game kind of tries to make it so that you're supposed to care about them. It's like, well past that point. There's been discussion about that on Twitter. Like, mustache trolling villains in video games are like more believable now that we have a better idea of like how the people who run our planet actually think. With this game, it's like, we're just gonna give you some text like hours after you killed all those people to try to make you feel sorry for them. When literally all you see them doing is horrendous things. Like, way too late for me to care.
待て鶴の清張もいるケースだこっちへの同意を排除
こいつら自我を失っているのか
ここでやられるわけにはいかん応戦するぞ暗いなガンダで天破バッタリ
なら私が
妨害を取るアタック攻めおかの非常妨害
精霊力を
アタック取る押せ天破バッタリ
決めて
ソハ
Oh yeah, you're not missing much, man. It's a good point to leave. Catch you later, dude. I'll talk to you in Discord. You're just missing a bunch of palette swap monsters. Definitely a good point to check out.
Mina
こちらが誰かお構いなしに襲ってくるわね
何
邪魔よ
バラバラにしてやる切り開くはっ支援将かいレンガ弾内外一戦切り下げ残りマジ一戦上発しろ切り下げレンガ弾科学がいい浮き雲クレだ天空レンガ弾エアプレッシャー止めに来るやらせない天破抜体剣マイクレンガだはい見ろ風に乗れレンガだ打ちやる影をダウンで
よし盾も鎧も傷はないな
Space and aliens at the end, yeah. I don't know, this could have worked out. It could have worked out if, you know, the game got pushed back like another 6 months or something. It could have worked out. The problem is that it's You don't have to be gaming for decades to realize that there just wasn't any time to finish the game at this point. It's a lot of information to digest, and there's barely any gameplay to break it up to even allow you to really process all the shit they're talking about. Just pretty bad storytelling. Even when you're not playing something interactive, you're not watching a story in something interactive like a video game. You know, even like Kung Fu movies and stuff still have like breaks in the action. They're not going to give you like 90 straight minutes of fight scenes. You gotta give people some time to breathe. Although there are Kung Fu movies that do the same thing though. Like lots and lots of story and then like only like the last 10 minutes is worth watching, but it's pretty rare for that to be the case.
やっと大丈夫か。
いい
ヒアリエのこと傷つけずに止められてよかったね。
Look at that. You beat a boss. You move forward. You get control of the character for like 5 seconds. Not even that, like 2 seconds. And then you get another long cutscene. And then they give you a forced walking section.
その原因らしいということもです。
だが、茨を解く方法はまだだ。
Yes.
この先見つかるといいな。
At least it's funny this time around. The first time it was like water torture getting through this. But now that I'm not reading any of it, it's not so bad. We really gotta drag out this last couple hours of the game.
ちょっと待ってくれ。
Another one!
そこの部屋を調べたい。ちょっと気になるんだ。
前に来たことがあったんだったわね。わかったわ。
And then I'm gonna go in here and get another cutscene. Another one. Move forward and get another one. Yeah, I'm not making this up. I mean, you're watching it right now. You're seeing just how bad this is. But you're getting the more tolerable version because I'm not watching any of it. But man, the first time I played this, it was not fun. Another one! More cutscenes. Like, actually watching these at this point, I think it is like 30 to 45 minutes. And there hasn't been any gameplay to break any of this up. Pretty much just move forward and watch more.
心が砕けるのを防ぐために痛みも記憶も失う可能性を分かっていた。それでもここ
ネビリ。
ネビリ。
Look at this! There's more! Okay, there actually will be some gameplay here. You fight the Kamen Rider people. Fight the Kamen Rider people here. You get a little taste of a video game.
ここは戦うしかないわアルゼ
Not a movie with no budget.
とにかくこいつらを止めろ。盤石の先生的な切り開く。支援将開。蒸発しろ。
フリーズランタン
仲間を奪ったな。だぜ。魔王へ恩に切るぜ。目を怒らせやがって。暴力なんかだね。まだいけんぜ。流星人。
炎よ巻き込め炎よ
任せてくれ。辛いな。硬いやつは任せろ。叩き攻め。今だ。やらせか。まだまだいけるぞ。旋風陣。やれるぞ。今だ。俺はそれになる。調べてや。叩き攻め。
まだよマグナビ
諦めろ。
二人とも大丈夫？
はあ、それにしてもまさかボルラーンが本当にいるなんてな。レナもダナもあの男にとって何の意味もなかったようだな。
俺たちと逆の意味でか。
They block your fast travel here too. For literally no reason other than to make you sit through these load screens. There's nothing to explore. There's nothing to fight. Like, I mean, this looks nice, but gameplay-wise, there's nothing here. They do that a lot in the second half of this game. Just your fast travel just arbitrarily stops working. Really, all you're doing is holding the analog stick forward and sitting through load screens. Like, there's no reason why I cannot just fast travel back. Nope, you had to walk all the way back. For no reason at all. No reason. Why can I not just teleport back? Nope. Nope. Not even trying to hide it at this point, but I don't mind it right now because I'm not watching the cutscene. And doing this the first time is very agonizing. I don't mind this at all right now. I'm having fun with it actually, but not so much the first time. They do this to you a couple hours prior to the dungeon I was in before I took a break to eat. They do it there too. You have to walk all the way back. Like, the game teaches you that you can fast travel like pretty much any time. But then once you start getting into the second part of the game, it just stops working. It's down for maintenance or something.
敗北は遠慮しておこう。
So what reason was there to make me do that? Like, no reason. Give you the illusion of gameplay.
レネギスの人たち、安
Pretty
心で
much the only reason. You still can't fast travel back, by the way. You have to walk across the
ロ
town.
ーの助言あってのことだ。おかげで助かった。
語ったのは大将だぜ。
じゃあみんなのお手柄だね。
At least they give you a sprint in this game. You did not get one in Berseria. You're stuck on a healthy morning jog, trying to save the world and shit. Triple run speed. That's how I got through that game 3 times. It made the game so much better. I had people telling me I was trivializing the game. I'm like, what is there to trivialize about walking really slow? In mostly barren environments with a couple monsters and treasure chests sprinkled around. I enjoyed the game more because I had that mod. That's why I was able to get through that whole challenge run. It made just getting to the actual fun parts of the game, you know, literally 3 times as fast. The hoverboard sucks. The hoverboard, it makes you go like 10% faster. That's not exaggeration either. Also, you get it generally after you're done with a dungeon. So by that point it's pointless, but it's not enough. The last dungeon in Berseria is agonizingly long because of how slow the run speed is. The hoverboard is like it's almost like an unnoticeable speed improvement.
Lenaに
されるが
Cutscene! In 2 seconds of walking and then another cutscene.
ここに呼んだのは星船ごと我々を引き寄せたただものではない。
きっとこのどこかにいるはずよ。
What's the point of even giving you control? Like,
探しましょう。
you might as well just link the cutscenes together at that point. This is like a 20-minute cutscene if I remember correctly. Not watching it. Kamen Rider guy's in there, he tells you a bunch of shit that you're so mentally checked out at this point. It's just like, you know, I don't really care what you're saying, dude.
Hito ga?
あなたたちはずっとここ。ええ、そ。
少しは。
ああ。
奨励計画の
第一。何？
みんな思い思いの場所に行ったよね。
ああ、一人ずつ訪ねてみよう。
Also, this really goes against Tales' tradition too. Normally, the whole thing where your party separates and you talk to everybody and you reflect on the final dungeon, this is like the 3rd time they've done it. Like, pretty much every Tales game does that right before the final dungeon, but this one has already done it twice at this point. At least, you know, it's better than Star Ocean 3, I'll give it that. Because, you know, their whole perception of, like, reality and everything they were taught and stuff and experienced has, like, completely been turned upside down at this point. But they actually do react like humans. So despite how stupid all this plot twist stuff is, it does work better than the last game that tried to do this, which was Star Ocean 3. Like, you actually hear them talk about, like, dude, this shit is hard for me to process. I did like that about sitting through all this the first time.
にしても
They actually
ヘビレッ
react
ドの
like
野郎
human
も
beings,
う少し
not
分
just
かり
like
やすく
kind of
話
just
せねえもん
shrug it
か
off.
小難しい話ばっかで頭の中が煮えそうだぜ
安心しろよ。
Like these space people are controlling everything, and they're actually the same as they're the same as the people being run into slavery. They're just like genetically modified or whatever. Like that would be a pretty hard pill to swallow, and they actually
まだれ
do talk about that quite a bit in here, which is nice. It's just it's a little bit too late for you to care.
休まない
よし、ファルナイス号に戻ろう。
我らの
何
これがレナ全てがここから始まったっていうのに死の世界だなんて
ダナまでこうはさせない。させてたまるか。どうやらあの精霊
I want to see the final dungeon tier list. I think most people, general consensus right now is that this is one of the worst in the series. There's been some terrible final dungeons in this series. The thing that makes this one bad is the length of it and the pacing. Because obviously fighting recycled bosses for 2 hours is very mentally exhausting, but it's the fact that it comes after, you know, actually watching the cutscenes, like hours of just non-stop info dumps and techno-babble and stuff. It's probably not as bad if you took a break, but I think most people at this point would just want to just finish the game and see what happens. A lot of people say that the Xillia 2 dungeon is worse. I don't recall that exhausting me as much as this did. Dicroft is pretty exhausting too.
相手も術を使うか。
そっちは私に任せて
様相主義
I think a lot of the problem is also like in other Tales games, meaning all the ones besides this one, you have the grade shop, and the grade shop
また
usually makes the game like so much more fun to play. So when the
Yeah.
final dungeon overstays its welcome, you kind of feel like you're being denied of the grade shop. This game does not have that problem though, because there is no grade shop. So I definitely would recommend. If anybody I knew was playing this blind, I would tell them to take a break at this point.
そこの装置で操作
Like, take a good long break, at least like half a day, if not an entire day, and come back.
どっから湧いてきやがった
Because the game is going to go out of its way to make you really exhausted. At least if you're watching the cutscenes, I'm fine now.
分かってる私どうぞ 落ち着いて対処なさい決めて
聞いたか鍛えた甲斐はあったそういうと大優勢 俺たちは悪人だよ。
どうも頼もしいわ。
エルフェ子供だ。嘘ライバル
光を動きを止める。
息の根止める。
行くわよ。当てる。
硬いやつは
炎よ
任せろって。
決めて。
精霊力を
アタック。
これで
終わりだ。
その調子で続けて。私も援護するわ。
これは俺の
精霊力を
アタック。
次は誰にだろう。
絶対そう砕けろ。後悔しな。しよう。どうや。ダメ。切り裂け。浮き雲。今だ。それはそれになる。グレン
精霊力を
アタック。押せ。おっとそういう連鎖だ。
決めて精霊力を
アタック。
もっと力が必要。
こんな環境なのにまだ生き物がいるのか。
レナ世界の生き物なのでしょうか。それともズーグル。どちらにせよ危険であることに変わりなさそうだわ。気をつけて。あの縦穴レナの中心まで繋がってるのかしら。
ならこのまま降りていけば精霊に会える場合だ。
いっそ飛び
He could get there faster. He just jumped down instead. Yeah, don't him. You're preaching to the choir, man. Skip all the recycled bosses with, 5 extra digits of health and more defense. And that's the only thing that they changed.
レナ人のだけでなく
And actually, the game doesn't tell you can actually run from those boss fights. And once I found that out, getting through the game, this part was a lot more manageable.
俺との逆なのか。
俺たちでいう一気薬と木造の違いとか。
英語はそうだやるしかない。
傷を負ったら言いなさい。
やらせない。やれるぞ。しよう。
いかが鍛えた甲斐があんだな。
これで
終わりだ。
確実についてる。
通してもらおう。俺が姿を消せるのか。やるな浮き雲。来るな。バラバラにしてやる。あとはアタックする。やれるぜ。はいになれ。はめるな。絶対しろ。
ぶしてやる。人類漏洩客アルフェウソライバー。俺たちは
負けないし
くじけないし
倒れな
これが
自由だし。一筋縄ではいかないようだ。俺の俺の
これで
終わりだ。
その調子で続けて私も援護するわ
精霊力を
まだまだ鍛えねえとな。
邪魔よ
様子を襲撃。レンガだ。やらせない。見事なレジン倒産に当たりする。やらせない。
振り注げ
レンガだ。太陽だ。あんたもうついてる。壁を奏でよ。俺の真骨頂。先制したぞ。レンガだ。太陽空破。バティンチェン。押せ。まずは俺の。準備完了。バラバラにしてやる。
This game is so much better with the cancel mod. The big bosses don't really feel frustrating anymore because you can actually react to what they're doing.
これからも頼むぞ。
I definitely did enjoy this playthrough a lot more than the first one. Pretty enjoyable. Definitely proof that
あの光ったやつ
mods can make flawed games a lot better. Yeah, we already kind of knew that, especially if you watch this channel, but this is one of the most extreme examples. The combat feels a lot better.
どきなさい
Not being locked in animations.
任せたまえ。素晴らしい体だ。俺の真骨頂。切り開く。はっ。炎症。かい。はいになれ。ラスト。エンテルサ。ガード。やるな。要素を制御する。俺の。ラウンジ。レンガだ。ガリオ空破。なんかもうついてる。ルナートプラス。砕く。アクアサーペント。紹介した。レンガだ。やらせない。ガリウス。俺に任せてくれ。レンガだ。ガリオ空破。なんかもうついてる。調子ね。レンガだ。アタックセブン。ガリオ空破。レンガだ。アイフェ。ウソライバー。
確実についてる
なんか機嫌いい。
通してもらおう。レンガだ。運ばれこせる。アタックセブン。では一滴設けてもらおう。わかった。レンガだ。
えておくよ。
一気に終わらせるわ。行きなさいアドレビートオブリアマグナビこれで
終わりだ。
力がみなぎってくる。
何の
Why does this game do that? Cutscene.
何なんでこんなのがいる
A second and a half of sprinting, and then another one. It's like, why don't you just combine them? Like, you already gave me a healing point too, so like that's not it either.
何か不満に
It's easy to think that that's why they did that, but no, the healing point was at the last loading zone. It's just like, why? Just transition between the two cutscenes seamlessly.
夏は真ん中のやつにかけましょう
仲間をバラバラにしてやる。
行くわよ手早い回復
我々が皆を助けねば。
誰も死なせない
今のや
The hell was that thing?
そう願いたいな
The hell is this dungeon, man?
デュオハリムの話を聞いた
That is the question.
なんとも言えない気分だ。
私は可能性を述べただけだ。
I think the worst part about this dungeon, besides the bosses, is the fact that coming up the last room before the point of no return, you actually have to clear all of those side areas. If you don't clear them, then you have to walk back through here entirely. You don't get a fast travel point. The game does not tell you that either, so...
設備がいや部屋全体がそうなのか
If you want to get anything back in here, you have to clear all that on your first time. Otherwise, you have to walk through this again. And when the enemies are not blocking your path, it's a lot harder to tell where to go.
大した技術だ。
Like, they're just kind of like toying with you at this
ここ
point.
からは目指す
There's no reason why you should have to do that. It's not so bad the first time, but you have, you know, the boss, the recolored bosses kind of telling you where to go, guiding you in the right path, but you go through here again and they're all gone. Really hard to tell where to go. But I'm just using the fellow arms now, so everything dies really fast.
突進は私が止める。お願いキャラ。
リルルがプルプルしてる。幸運の予感。
なん
地表から随分様子が変わったな。それだけレナの深いところに来たのね。
そしていよいよ敵の本体が近いってことだ。
無作法が過ぎるな。
落ち着いてカルスマさん。
君からは目を離せない。
面倒かけてすまない。
敵はわずか。落ちきるわよ。
俺が円波抜体験
フリー
やれるぜ。
決めて。
妨害を頼む。潰してやる。信頼漏洩客。
敵の動員。
鍛えた甲斐があったな。
決めて。
これまでの戦いが実を結んだな。
どこもかしこも手強い敵ばかり。
They're putting up a real fight. Why doesn't anybody mention that they're all just
あるいは
Neon, like,
過去のカウントで勝手に鍛えられる
rave candy
どっちだ
color?
ろうと
Nobody seems to notice that in this game.
なあ
It's the same monster you've been fighting since the first 3 hours of the game, but
今
more health and neon color. Like, nobody seems to notice. Are you guys blind, or they're not blind? They have to be colorblind. Nobody seems to notice that. You've been fighting that same wolf and lizard for like 30 hours at this point. Nah, it's just astral violet isolation. It's not the same bird boss recolored. Given these edgy names, it's like you're supposed to take it seriously.
手早い
できることをやって我々が皆を助ける
決めて。確実についてる。本当にどこまで行っても機械ばかりだ。ええ。すごいとは思うけど、住みたいとは思えないわ。ここには魚がいない。
No.
攻撃あるのに俺がいつも助かっておりますでは心置きなく玉砕したまえ
これで
終わりだ
よし、盾も鎧も傷はないな。
お手並み拝見といこういつも助かっておりますでは心置きなく玉砕したまえやらせない見たか鍛えた甲斐があった叩き潰す
これで
終わり
シオンの力はすごいな。
フルッタンもうあなたよ
Ultra ego. That would be a great mod for this game. It's just like all these palette swap bosses. Just keep the name, but just add Ultra Ego. It's basically what it is, yeah. There he is, right there.
さっさと片付けましょう
This is actually enjoyable this time because I'm just. It's like Mystery Science Theater, like River Tracks, but. And the first time I did this, I felt like I had ran like 10 miles straight. You can't avoid most of these fights either. Most of them are forced. The game doesn't tell you that you can run from them. No, Ultra Ego Mantis was like 5 floors back.
なんとかなったな。
あの茨もどきもやっぱレナの精霊の一部なの。
多分ね。でも髪の毛みたいなものだと意志とか感じられないし。
髪の毛じゃ買ってもいいね。
This is the part that's a real dick move. If you don't do these, you can't fast travel back here. Which I don't even know why that's a thing, because like at this point you've fought so many Ultra Ego bosses. Like, you know, you're just ready for the game to end. No matter how much you like it, this dungeon really is mentally exhausting. But then they throw this in to really solidify being one of the worst final dungeons in the series. feel like the people who designed this final dungeon are probably people who like IGS beat 'em ups. IGS beat 'em ups are a lot like this. Like they're visually beautiful. They don't play too bad, but they start to overstay their welcome. And depending on how much endurance you have to play like mentally exhausting games for hours on end, it can be a really big turnoff. It actually does remind me a lot of those games. Like, they didn't even really factor in like how tired you would be at this point. Like, actually going through the entire game, the entire last act, like without taking a break. Very weird design. Especially because they make you do this or you can't fast travel back here. They make it look like it's optional, but it actually isn't. We need to come back here for any reason. You have to do this.
怒りを覚えた。
それを止めるためにこの盾がある。分かった。任せたぞ。バラバラにしてやる。やれるぞ。
召喚に値する。この子逃ってはあるまい。バラバラにしてやる。
敵の術は私がうまいよ。
言ってるぜ。ぶっ潰してやる。死ぬな。ローレー角。寝てはいられんか。やれる。これで終わりだ。その調子で続けて。決めてやる。私も援護するわ。ガリエテ切り開く。支援将開。ガローランゲツつまめそこだ。倒れろ。いけるぞリグル。
精霊力を
叩き込む。これまでの戦いが実を結んだな。
これいい装備かも。戦い
No,
が
it's
楽
not.
に
We
な
already
る。
have it. Yeah, you have to do all of these, otherwise you cannot fast travel. No more does the game even bother to mention that. It can't even be bothered to give you like a text box telling you like, hey, if you don't clear these supposedly optional quests, these rooms here, then you have to go through this entire dungeon again if you want to come back here for any reason. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. It's gonna be at least another 20 minutes of fights, I estimate. Because I'm gonna wait for a mod before I really play this game anymore. The New Game Plus mod. I want to make sure I have access to this. In case there's stuff to grind. There was a mod, actually. But the person who made it deleted it or something. Didn't seem like it was done out of, like, malice because people were hating on it or something. I guess the person just wanted to tweak it a little bit more. And now that the battle system is actually a lot better because of the cancels, I could see myself doing that again. So I want to make sure that I have access to the final dungeon. I can just go straight through it. So I'll be right back. finish this. Oops. Got the Ultra Instinct lizard here. 2 of them.
こうしてもらおう。この借りは忘れてない。では一席設けてもらおう。空が上がった。考えておくよ。ライザー見たか。鍛えた甲斐があったな。
悪いな。でも
何持ちつ持たれつ。
そう思っておく。一気に終わらせるわ。行きなさいアドレビートオブリア。
君からは目を離せないな。面倒
これで
終わりだ。
ルルがプルプルしてる。幸運の予感。
See how long this takes. I don't even understand why this is here. I mean, they're not even unique. They're not even unique fights at this point. Like you fought this exact same Ultra Ego like 10 times just in this dungeon. Not really giving me an interesting battle here.
敵の術は私が奪うよ。
今だ。俺はそれになる。この効果逃してはあるまい。やれるぞ。しよう。まだ伸びしろがあったような。
Two more of these, one of which is the Sword Dancer, and then the last couple fights. I already did this one.
かも4本ときたもんだ。こっちは2本だからね。負けるものか。
何なのよその対抗心。
素晴らしい体だ。やらせない。浮き雲食える。大発入れランデバラバラにしてやる。やるな。すまない。仲間は寝るな。やったきつむ。やれるぜ。これでいける。ランデこの連撃同感に値する。まだ俺はそれになる。グレンフェイスライザーヤマタロウヤマタロウバラバラにしてやる。バライケンホーラー気をつけろ。慎重ではないんだからバラバラにしてやる。
なかなかの別に認めてないわけじゃない。
大かバック任せたまえ。
炎よ
ガヨー
巻き込め。レイズデッドマグナルソーレンジ。やめるわけには。
Dude, nice. How'd they all die? Doesn't matter.
耐えるわ。
こういう連鎖だ。
レイズデッド素晴らしい。これで
終わりだ。
Again. Ugh.
剣を捨てやがった。どうやら俺の勝ちみたいだな。
まだ終わってないから。全然終わってないから。私を置いていかないで。
炎よ巻き込め。
あげろ。
フリーズラッタバーンストライク。スレッドフリーズラッタ悪いね。手間を
何持ちつ持たれ
I'm not sure what he died from there. Alright. Oh, bullshit game.
気をつけろ。
Question mark.
ではない力だ。
I strongly disagree.
負けてられない。
では一席設けてもらおうか。分かった。
It's weird that they put... That's a unique boss fight. It's a unique boss fight, but they give it to you in here, where you know you're already like you're over the game, like especially if you played non-stop watching the cutscenes. That would have been a great post-game fight, especially since the Sword Dancer is a legacy boss. He's a recurring boss in a lot of the older games. But no, he's just kind of here. Like, no significance or anything. He's just there. Like, it's really cool. That's probably the coolest version of the Sword Dancer. Next to like this.
我々が皆を助ける。勇士こそ好機とは素晴らしい奏だ。
何か不満でも
誰か甲斐があったな。やらせない。
クリームラウト
このことか。バッチシ決まったな。
Alright, good, that's done. Because I probably won't touch this again until there's a good New Game Plus mod. This playthrough's been very enjoyable. I mean, it doesn't fix the pacing problems and stuff, obviously, but like the actual moment-to-moment gameplay with this mod is a lot better. It just begs the question of why the game was designed like that in the first place, but now is not the time for that debate. Really good case for mods making games objectively better sometimes. Most of the time.
もはや何でもありだ。
壊した方がよさそうだ。
これで
Now there's a random fight with more Ultra Instinct Hammer guys. Like I didn't just fight 80 of those throughout just
これ
this
だけの
dungeon
攻撃を
alone.
受けながらなんというしぶとさなのだ
Really out of place.
向こうが根を
Why
上げ
is
る
it
まで
there
ぶちかまし続
exactly?
けるだけ
Who knows? Even in the last fight, they've gotta pad things out. Can't skip this cutscene. Oh, there we go. You have this like more Ultra Instinct enemies. They're back again. How long has it been? Like 2 minutes? There's more of them. Epic battle music playing. At least it's funny this time. When I saw this the first time, I wanted to just like shut the game off, but this is going pretty smoothly. I'm having fun.
負けられないの これで これで
Hey, what's up? I'm finishing the playthrough with your mod. It's been very enjoyable. I've had a lot of fun this playthrough. But I won't touch this again until there's New Game Plus mods.
捕まれぶつかるぞ
Yeah, he mostly fixed this game. He mostly fixed it single-handedly. That's a hell of an accomplishment. Especially with this game, so props to you.
全て終わる今度こそ本当にだね
Unjankified the game. Unjankification process.
油断するなごめんリリースランカー
凄まじい
我々がヤツの力を解けよ
まずは腕を狙うぞ
私たちもやるよロー
任っとけってんだ
お願いロー私たちはここからだやったね
おや
精霊力が
このままじゃまずいなやるわけにはいかない
気を張る
始めよう
私たちの
未来をさすがだな
あなたの力あってこそです
残るは中央のみ
やりましょうこれが最後
終わりだ
アルペン
Oh, Law! You know, I played him almost the entirety of my first playthrough, and, yeah, he feels so much better. I played him the majority of this playthrough, too. He definitely really fixed him.
貴様を殺し女と命令を下す 俺は超世界に屍の城を築こう。
力で世界を支配してそれでどうするつもりだ。
どうもこうもない。支配し君臨。それが全て。
ただそれ自体のためだというのか。いや精霊さえも未来を見た。今何もない。何も生み出すことはない。
だったらどうだ。
哀れなやつだ。
そういう貴様はどう。300年前の過去から蘇った亡霊が哀れでなければ何だというのか。
そんな風に感じたこともあった。この時代に守るべきものがある。それをお前に奪わせはしない。あげろ。はいみなれ。あっとお前にだって仲間くらいいただろう。
俺が覚える。背中に突き下ろされる無知の火のごとき痛みと逆にこれをより弱い者を天元にして生き延びるチャンス。愛友達どこにもありはせぬ。
やる気はないのか。
ひどい。こんな一人世界を天秤にかけながら俺に道理を解くとは片腹痛いわ。俺と同じ欲しいものは全て手に入れるというか。
違う。俺が目指すのは与え合う。ぬくもりを勇気を終わりだ。
That was fun. That was a fun playthrough. A lot more enjoyable than the first one. I mean, it helped that I skipped all the cutscenes, obviously, but like the actual playing the game part was a lot better because of the mod. Yeah. I won't touch this again until the mod comes out, or comes back rather. I had fun with that. GG. That only took like 10 hours, I think. Oh no, it says right there. Yeah, that took about 7.5 hours, I think. There definitely was some time where I was AFK and stuff. Yeah, about 8 hours. Not bad. That was very enjoyable. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'll touch that again when there's New Game Plus mods. Like I said, there was one, but the guy like removed it randomly. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, I'm all ready for that pretty much. Yeah, you basically fixed the game. I mean, as much as one person can that doesn't have access to the source code or anything, you really did fix that game. And I can honestly say that after I played through it again in its completion, to completion. That was pretty fun. I appreciate what you did. You made me reinstall a game I thought I'd never play again, and I actually had quite a bit of fun with it. I never thought I'd say that with that game, but yeah, that was very enjoyable. Next time there's a New Game Plus mod, I'll probably play that again. I didn't really make save files for the bosses or anything. I figured it only took like 7.5 hours to play through that, not watching anything. So I'll be down to do that again at some point. Gundam Breaker 3 save editor. How does that work? I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay, yes. I hate when they force you to do this stuff. Okay, I read it. Yes. Yeah, the frame rate in that game is a crime against humanity. It's a real bummer. Game goes at like light speed, but frame rate can't even maintain 30 FPS, so feels really rough. The rumor is that there's going to be another Gundam Breaker 4. Yeah, I would love to play that again, but I know I'm just setting myself up for motion sickness with that terabad frame rate. That's actually why I had to stop playing that game. I started feeling increasingly motion sick playing it, and unfortunately I had to prioritize my health over a really fun video game, so I had to drop it. Which sucks, because I really wanted to do the second playthrough and stuff, but... Mass Builder is supposed to be getting melee combat update soon. Seems like they're still far off from that. I'm looking forward to that. That game really is it's just Gundam Breaker with a better frame rate but worse gameplay. If they can get it even half as good as Gundam Breaker 3, I think that would replace that game for me. It's made by a much smaller team, and I think they really designed the game with ranged combat in mind. But then, people call them out for it. Like, we want it to be like Gundam Breaker, where you could play the game pretty much however you wanted. Alright, well, that's kind of all I had planned tonight. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next. It's still so early. I can't really go to bed at this hour. I'm just going to be sitting here staring off into space, which is not good for me. I don't know if any big channels have covered it, have they? I mean, I'm not really I'm a big channel. I'm not. I'm on the larger end of channels, yes. I have more people watching my stuff than average, but I don't think any, like, really gigantic channels have covered it, which is a shame. It's not uncommon, though. People don't come back. I definitely have played my fair share of games that have gotten fixed with patches and stuff like that, and people don't come back. I feel like that's going to happen with DMC5. If the rumor is true and they do give us the special edition content, on PC. Like, how many people are really going to come back? Like, we should have had that day one. DMC5 is just a weird game right now. It's like you get faster load times on console. We get an official LDK mode, which does not crash, which is the main problem with the modded version on PC. Is it's very unstable. It can crash at random. Really makes it unfun to play. But then the PC version has all those mods, which make the game a lot better. Just stuff like being able to switch characters at will and stuff. It's like there's no definitive version of DMC5, which is really strange because, you know, the previous games, you know, 4 and 3 especially, even the reboot, you know, those were the best versions of those games by far. Like, if you had a halfway decent computer, especially for like 3 and 4, which doesn't really, you don't need a heavy duty machine to run those. Like, there's no reason to ever play it on console. But 5's just in a weird spot. There's pros and cons for both versions, and neither one is objectively better than the other. The mods definitely weigh it more in the PC version's favor, but, you know, you miss out on LDK and stuff, and that's a really fun mode, especially with mods, but it's just it's too unstable. It crashes the engine too much, and it gets more frustrating than fun. Like, I thought it was just my computer didn't like the game, but it turns out that it just does that. It just crashes whenever it feels like it, which sucks. Oh, they'll eat that up. Yeah, they're the Chinese community. They like to mod things a lot. You know, they have like thousands of mods for Dynasty Warriors 8. I'm sure they're really enjoying it. That's cool. But yeah, that full playthrough took like less than 10 hours, and it was very enjoyable. I had a lot of fun. I haven't even really touched the other characters yet either, but I'm not ready to play through the game again. I'm going to wait for a New Game Plus mod before I do that. But I just wanted to give the mod a full test drive, play through the whole thing, see how it feels, and unfortunately it felt very good. I had a lot of fun tonight. Well, the past few nights I've been streaming it. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out something else to play. I'm kind of like, that's all I really had planned, just finishing that tonight. Should look into Dragon Ball Xenoverse mods. Like, what mods do they have for that game now? So I haven't touched that game since I haven't touched it since before the DLC came out, pretty much, and they've added so much to it. I don't know where to look for mods for that though. Let me look at that really quick. I might try that game. That might be the next game I play. It's technically a game I already finished, but I'm curious, like, what mods they have for it. I know that the mods were, like, blocked for a time. I don't know if they still are. A lot of moveset mods, huh? Yeah, I haven't looked into any of that. No, they have guaranteed drop rate stuff. Yeah, I probably would use that. Well, I don't think that's going to happen tonight because I'd have to sift through mods, and I don't know anything about what they. I played that game unmodded. I didn't really touch it. I didn't mess with that game at all. I don't know. I don't know what's good to add and what isn't. I guess I'll level up a bit in Arise. You're not quite late, but I'm probably not going to be on much longer. I finished the modded Arise playthrough, so now I'm just kind of relaxing for a bit. Ugh.
雰囲気が変わった。油断するな。
Just making sure this is activated before I save. I'm not going through that Ultra Instinct recolored dungeon again. That's for sure. Alright. Good. Just making sure. Triple check.
フルルにはのありフルルフルルに反応ありフルルフルルに反応あり
感じるぞ。窮した民の思いを。
私たちの出番だね。
どうした？
旅絡みだったら大変だもんね。
でもなぜこんなところに？ここに何があるっていうの？
たまたまなのか意味があるのか。
That is the life of a
調べてみればはっきりする。
somebody who provides for their community in a video game. I know it all too well. I've been there a lot myself. It's the same thing in the speedrunning community. The people that like find all the glitches and stuff, like they get through the game a lot slower. With me, it's like making guides and stuff. It's really time consuming. I can't always like plow through a game as fast as I used to before I had this channel because I have to look at the game a different way and make the content and stuff. And depending on the game, it can take a really long time. Some of these games don't make it easy to really do that kind of thing. Well, I did not make any guides for this, honestly. I pretty much just did. I showed the mods and that was it. But normally with Tales games, it takes me a long time to get through them because I'm making mods and showing off the mechanics and stuff, but this game is not really in need of that.
ここは地下なのか。何かの遺跡の中みたいだが。
どうやら九段のダナの聖堂のようだ。全て失われたのではなく、埋もれて残ったか。あるいはもともと地下に作られていたのか。
Well, those modded videos did pretty well for me. Did pretty well for me, all things considered.
物が動いてるのか。襲ってくるわ。
この借りは忘れずかい。では一時儲けてもらおう。分かった。考えておくよ。
Same thing with people who make cheat engine tables and stuff. Really thankless job in ways. Because those people don't even really get to enjoy the game for themselves.
Oh, もともと遺跡の一部だったものが精霊力を帯びて変異したのだ。おそらく奥にいる本体が我々を排除しようとして仕掛けてきているのだ。
誰だか知らねえけど、よっぽど邪魔されたくねえらしいな。削られすぎ。こっちまだ。あげるな。そういう連携だ。いけるぞ。精霊力を。アタック。今だ。そういう連携だ。やらせない。いつも助かっとりな。では心置きなく玉砕したまえ。嘘。ライバー。いたか。鍛えた甲斐があったな。いけるぞ。しよう。今いけるぞ。はっ。 いい連携だったな。演武局といったところか。いけるぞ。全力でいけそうだ。
Well,
といった致命傷になりかねん。
それを防ぐのが私の役目です。これで終わりだ。その調子で続けて。決めてやる。私も援護するわ。
怒りの拳を受けてみな。やらせか。
これで
終わりだ。こっちの番だ。いけるぞ。
これで
終わりだ。
古代のダナ人たちが精霊力の強く流れる場所を祀ったのかな。
だとして地上のあの顔とお言葉どう感じするんだ。
調べてみない一人は何とも言えない。
これで
終わりだ。やらせか。合流レンガさん任せてくれ。炎よラリエテ上げろ。蒸発しろ。やっとバラバラにしてやる。いけるぞヒューハイムソーハ中央人今だ。合流レンガさん燃えろ。超レンガだ。いけるぞしよう。硬いやつは任せろって。気がそれちまった。
I forgot how bad this dungeon is. For some reason, you're stuck in the battle phase the entire time. You can't tell where you're going. There's no map. You can't save. You must have thrown this together really fast.
これで
終わりだ。こっちの番だ。ぶっ潰してやる。死んないローエー角。絶対と切り下げ。ここだ。になって治って
倒れてきた遅いの。
いけるぞ。
これで
終わりだ。今だ。合流レンガさんやめるぞ。レゴハイムソーハ中央人。
Can't even tell if I'm going the right way. Actually, no, this is the worst dungeon in the game. You can't sprint, you can't see a map, you can't tell where to go. It's like random forced battle state. Just makes it take longer to get through because you can't sprint.
我々が皆を助ける。
誰も死なせない。
絡め取る。
どう倒したのか。お前の分も引き受けるか。
合流レンガさん
無駄よ。切り下げ。 灼熱の
バーンストライクだ。こっからだぜ。三冠もうすぐハエになってだだぜ。今だ。俺はそれになる。無縁戦争。動きを封してやろう。
いけるわ。
なれるわ。雰囲気が変わった。油断するな。用心して。ヤバそうなのがいるぞ。あいつを呼び出したのか。
混戦は避けたいわね。さっさと倒しましょう。悪いわね。手間
何持ちつ持たれつ。守りも固いな。このまま続きが過ぎるな。思考の域を超えている。ちょっと遠慮したい感じ。いい連携だったな。演武局といったところか。息を回復すまない。できることをやっているだけ。あんたの仲間で本当に良かったよ。
これで
終わりだ。押せレンガ弾。フェアリースタイル。よくわかった。レンガ弾来た。しよう。やれるぞ。大物のお出ましだな。集中した方が良さそうだな。やらせない。賞賛に値する。俺が浮雲止めに来ると。
How did they both die? These boss fights suck. Gimmick.
羽が光ってる。
やべえのが来そうだ。
Just keep running away, why don't you?
凄まじい火力だな。
正面は危険です。
やられるぞ。上半しろ。まだまだいけるぜ。やらせじゃ。気がつけて大将。礼を述べる時間で敵にもう一撃加えたまえ。削られすぎる。
崩れた。
ここで決めてやる。やばそう。いけるぞ。キューハイム。スポーハ。
炎よ巻き込め。
また丸っこいのが増えたぜ。
面倒この上ないな。
素晴らしい奏でだ。
course, you morons! What were they thinking with these fights? Seriously?
これでいける。
Just die! We're all dead again! Ow! Idiots! Or just don't use the item when I fucking tell you to. Yeah, just don't use it. Just don't use the item. Now I gotta go through this whole auto-scroller fight again. I hate how you have to do this to get the post-game dungeon, which is actually shit first. Basically an auto-scroller. The boss just keeps summoning those annoying projectile spam guys. Just keep shooting off camera. Can't see what they're doing. The AI is too dumb to dodge it. It's always great when they just make enemies that just shoot non-stop, but then the AI is too dumb to dodge any of it, so it just becomes a babysitting fest. They kill him fast before the ads come out. Of course, just get hit during that. You cooperated that time, and so did the AI. Oh, hit that. Oh, you idiots, come on! Ads are so irritating. No! Shit, lost fight. Those fights are so weird. You know, it wouldn't be that bad to actually fight those enemies in the battle system the way it is, but no, it's just we're just gonna spawn a bunch of annoying enemies in an area where you can't see anything.
るほど。うん。
お友達がいるの？お友達がいるの？ねえ、ピカピカの敵がいる。
やれ。
素晴らしい品に出会えた。
見つけたぞ。あれが相手だな。
お友達がいるの？
I forget how you get to the post-game dungeon. I think I'll just wait though. I think that's it for this game for today. I'll wait for mods.
ここはた
Let's just go ahead and save. I think I'll do like one more game tonight. How about that? It was a pretty enjoyable playthrough though.
Three, two, one, fight!
Shall we dance? Follow my lead! Here's the finale! Right back!
Magical source, mystic force. You're under arrest.
No! Fuck. God damn it, man. Why does that happen?
Hold it right there. Magical sword?
Yes, I know. Hold on. I'm in the middle of a match. I made a mistake. Patience. Patience. There, it's fixed.
You're no match for the power of magic.
I'm glad you guys tell me, but you gotta wait for me to finish the match. It's a very fast-paced game. The animations are not very long, so it's not like Dragon Ball Fighters. A lot more time to fix tech stuff in that game. This guy's team is annoying. Pretty cool synergy though.
You're done. You can't escape.
Well, I mean, you heard me playing Battle for the Grid, so I'm not upset. I'm glad you guys told me. It's just I fix it when I can. It's an online game. It's no different than someone playing like Apex Legends or something. That's fine. I'm not mad at anybody. It's just not something I can fix right away. That's all. There's no anger at all.
Megazord ready.
Time for it.
No, I'm not upset at all. You're misunderstanding me. It's just you gotta have a little patience when I forget that. You have to keep in mind I play games on here where if I use my auto detect source, the game doesn't work properly. So I have to turn it off to stream those games, and sometimes I forget. And that's all that happens. It's not a big deal. It's not your fault. It's mostly my recording software's fault. Certain games it can't hook onto. The game it doesn't work properly. I have a couple games I play that that do that. So sometimes I forget to turn the source on. XSplit's auto detect cannot hook onto every game. Sometimes the anti-cheat and stuff messes with it. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. There's no animosity at all. I just wanted to explain myself. Devil May Cry 5 in particular. If I have my auto detect on, the game runs really, really poorly. I have to make a separate source for that. I have to turn off my auto detect. If I don't, then If I don't, then it looks fine on your end, but on my end it's a choppy mess, and it's running way worse than it should. But this game works fine with auto-detect, but some of the other ones don't. Am I excited for Dynasty Empires? No.
I'm not afraid to lose. I'm
Not at all. I've never cared for the Empires games myself.
Samurai fire! Back off! Rocket slash!
Take care of this. Over here. More for time. Be right back. I'll be back. Out of sight. Shall we dance? Follow my lead. I'm the frog, courageous in spirit.
9 is a guilty pleasure game, yes, but I don't really want to play any more of it. I think I played all of that game I could take, and
Every frog has his day.
at least to me, I'm not interested in the Empires games, because it's mostly just the same thing with a bunch of menus. And they're not decloning anybody either, so that's another thing. Nobody's getting decloned in 9 Empires. The first gameplay they showed already deconfirmed that they're going to be decloning anybody. So it doesn't even have that going for it. Normally Empires games like to do that. It's like, you know, they can get more money out of people. It's like, you know, it's not really that interesting to most people. Most people don't really play the Empires games, but you know, they declone characters, so they still get those sales, but this time they're not doing that. I'll probably end up getting a review key for it without even asking, but I'm not like really frothing at the mouth to play it, let's put it that way. You know, I'll make a video about Empires, not tonight, but maybe tomorrow I'll do that. So I have some things I want to say about Empires that I think people are not aware of.
Over here. Slipstream. Out of stop. Over here. Out of the way. Over here. Shall we dance? Follow my lead. Here's the finale. More for time.
Check this out!
Nice. Good match. GG.
That's how we do it, Cat Ranger style.
Yeah, but I don't. I'm not into that at all. It's just not my thing. I guess I'll say this now, but I suspect the reason they're not decloning anybody is because they're going to scrap the combat again, which actually really pisses me off, to be honest with you. That actually makes me very angry. Because that's the only reason I could see why they would not declone anybody.
Let's cut them down to size.
Because it doesn't make sense to declone people in the characters in the 9-engine combat system if they're just going to scrap it. Which is probably why there's no declones. Which is bad. Not a good thing. At all.
Shall we dance? Follow my lead. Here's the finale.
All signs point to that being what they're going to do.
Here I come. Noxmar. Noxmar. Noxmar.
Slipstream. Out of step. Over here. Slipstream. Out of step. Over here. Shall we dance? Follow my lead. Here's the finale.
Honto!
Release the power.
Well, the current rumor is that they're gonna do a hard reboot like they did with Samurai Warriors 5, but Samurai Warriors 5 was a shitty reboot, so I don't really have a lot of confidence that they can deliver. Samurai Warriors 5 is a very, very safe reboot. You know, despite how much they changed the characters, you know, not having, like, Yukimura in there, like, those are big risks that they took, but then the actual gameplay did not really evolve at all. It's the exact same combat from PS2. And then you have all the clones, too, which just makes it worse. I would rather they build upon what they have, because they've definitely proven they're not capable of doing a good reboot. Normally, I would be all for a reboot, but after Samurai Warriors 5, I can't in good conscience say that anymore. Because that game was... They took risks with it, with everything but the gameplay, and the gameplay suffered a lot because of it. And it really didn't take good advantage of the fact that they had to do everything from scratch.
Let's cut them down to size.
It just felt like wasted potential.
Back off. Miss me. Circuit Storm. Circuit Storm.
Slipstream over here. See how we dance? Follow my lead. Here's the finale.
Well, they're probably going back to the drawing board again, which I think is a stupid idea. They really should have kept the combat. The combat was like the saving grace of 9 for me. It just suffered from too few moves, and the movesets are very homogenized. And all the clones. I mean, those were things that could easily be fixed over time. But the fact that the new Empires doesn't have anybody decloned really makes it seem likely that they're not gonna keep that battle system. They're gonna discard it again. And if they go back to charge attacks again, I think I might just be done with Dynasty Warriors. Honestly. I do not want them to go back to charge attacks. If they do that, I just don't think I'll even really care at that point. I think it will be finally time for me to move on. I hope they don't do something stupid like that, but I wouldn't put it past them. Do not go back to charge attacks. Like, we need to get away from that. There's like, literally like dozens of games with that combat system. We need to break away from that. The problem I have with Koei, the Muso team, is they're not good at taking constructive criticism at all. If something gets even just a lukewarm reception, and they'll just throw everything out. And it's like, that's not what needs to be done. A lot of the shit we take for granted in video games, like trigger buttons and stuff, and analog sticks, like, all those things were risks at a point. Like, they only became second nature after, you know, console developers and stuff took risks on those things. You're not gonna get anywhere if they just keep going back to keep playing it safe. I mean, even Call of Duty, I mean, they have like 20 Call of Duty games at this point. Like, even they don't try to just sell you the same thing. They try to innovate, and I mean, of course they backfired too. People hated Call of Duty Ghosts, they hated Advanced Warfare. But you gotta commend them for taking a risk. Not just regurgitating the same thing from the PS2 era. Like, it's not gonna get any better if you keep doing that. I mean, Call of Duty is not immune to that either. I mean, they have like 8
I always like
World
to
War
leave my
II
enemies
games,
with a
but
confusing thought.
at times they do try to innovate. It's backfired plenty of times, but I mean, as an outsider, I respect that they're not complacent, just recycling the exact same thing. That's just what bothers me about the whole situation. I mean, I don't have any inside information, obviously, but all signs point to them just throwing it all out. They did the same thing with Dynasty Warrior 6. Dynasty Warrior 6 had pretty fluid combat. The problem with that game is it was a lot like 9. It's just, there wasn't any depth to it. It was just button mashing, and there were a lot of clones. But, I mean, those are things that they could have easily fixed. But what did they do? They put out 7, and they were so proud of themselves to say, like, oh, the charge attacks are back. I'm like, no, I don't want them back. I want you to put the series into the last, 15 years or so and break away from that, like Basara. Basara did exactly that. They completely revamped their combat system. Yes, there were sacrifices. A lot of the characters didn't come back. They didn't come back until like 2-3 games later. Some never came back at all. But it was a necessary evil to make the combat better. And when you cut that many characters, and you still have crap combat, and you still have all the clones, and you can't just You can't just iterate on something. Everything has to be perfect the right time. I mean, that's not something that really happens a lot in video games. I mean, pretty much every mainline big franchise has a very humble beginning. Look at Street Fighter, look at Tekken. Like, the first Street Fighter sucks. The first Tekken is basically just a tech demo that they put out, so that they could sell the PlayStation. Now look at those series now. Look at how huge they are now. But they had to take risks and they had to grow to get to that point. And it just bothers me that they don't even try to grow. They just go back to the drawing board over and over. That's not how things change. You have to take risks and stick with it, at least for a while. Try to improve it. Don't just dump it immediately. I don't know anything about Call of Duty. I just know that they at least try to do something new every now and then. But I don't know much about that stuff. I just when I was younger, I used to live with roommates who loved Call of Duty, and I definitely witnessed them. Sometimes they didn't like that year's Call of Duty. They went back to the old one. I think the problem with Call of Duty is that as much as people claim that they're tired of World War II and shit, those games sell. And every time that they try to change Call of Duty, people just want the old one back. I think that's the problem that those guys face. Is they've tried adding superpowers and like parkour and stuff, and people don't like that for whatever reason. But then people don't like that they're doing World War II again either. So it's like, I can't imagine how hard it is to make those games. And you're like trying to not just sell people the exact same thing again, but in reality, that's what people actually want. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of faith in the Musou genre evolving as much as it should. Samurai Warriors 5 really burnt through any faith I had, really. The Samurai Warriors 5 is a completely playable game, but there's no way to get around the reality that is a shit reboot to use the same combat and still have all those clones. And now that it seems like they're doing that with Dynasty Warriors next, I just don't have a lot of confidence. I've been through this too many times. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I don't know, just history dictates that that's what's going to happen. They're going to start from scratch again, and it's going to be like a couple games before they really try to do much. Well, they've done like pretty much every war they can at this point. They've done it so many times. No, Call of Duty and Dynasty Warriors kind of have that in common. Like they've done the big war, World War II, like 800 times each, and eventually you just kind of run out of things to do with it. I mean, in my opinion, the only time that the story was worth watching in any Dynasty Warriors was 7, because they told you the entire story, and it was told in a very good way. It was worth watching the cutscenes, but like every other time before and after that, it's like this is just the exact same thing. There's a couple more playable characters, but I mean, it's functionally the exact same thing. And Call of Duty kind of has that problem too. Like World War II was a very interesting time to read about historically, but playing through it like 8 times in the past decade, it doesn't really give you a lot of material to work with. Everything has to be realistic. You don't have a lot of creative freedom. Alright, well, I'm done for tonight. I'm gonna take a break. I think I might actually do some research on this. Should see you guys, let's see. I have some things I've got to do today. I got to pick up some groceries. And, yeah, we'll go from there. I think I'm gonna call it early tonight. In the event I can't sleep, I'll come back. Nice talking to you guys. I'll see you guys